We are about to watch what I would consider my favorite section that I've filmed, which would be Drop the Hammer. And I was actually given, I think, 2 months notice to film this by old Glenn PP. I was kind of a last minute addition to the section list for this video, and I accepted the challenge. So this is probably over 2 months with a couple of clips that were thrown in that were on other trips and stuff that were like saved because they were good. So here we go. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Ah, yes, the green rail. The very first clip in this, I literally chest slid down a rail that I'd wanted to do forever, and I never ended up pulling it. It was great. So you won't see that rail in the rest of the video. It's basically just me crashing a bunch. I could probably make several video parts of just me crashing. Denver Park. This park is like one of the slickest parks on the planet, and it had nothing to do with why I crashed, but I still split my mouth open. And then oddly enough, the doctor who was like stitching my mouth up was a BMXer, so he was actually cool with us filming because he was like, oh yeah, I used to ride BMX, and he was actually a really good surgeon, so that was kind of nice. Yeah. That 3-whip right there, I literally like the step up at the Enterprise, that's the first 3-whip I ever pulled on a real ramp. Filmed it right there on a weird box jump. And if you go back and look, there's a guy in the background in a white shirt, that Denver Park clip where I did like the fakie. That's Troy McMurray flipping the camera off. And that right there is my man Fudger taking pictures. Ah, yeah. That was a fun day. That was like the loop trip. That whole trip, we road tripped from San Diego to Vancouver and back, and we basically learned how to do full pipes on that trip because we rode capsules and loops and stuff. It was a good trip. Still one of my top trips of all time. But yeah, this is basically just Walter Perringer and I just packed in a bunch of road trips and like to get this film. And we were just like, let's go, and just started filming stuff everywhere we went. Going to skate parks because that's my jam. I like skate parks. Narrow bars. I think I had milk bars still at this time. They're little tiny guys. They look weird. Definitely not cool these days. But you know what? I got a Nora Cup for this part. This is one of the only manual tail whips I think I ever did because I really suck at that trick. Tail whipping out of manual. That park right there, that's the Tyler Park. That's the park I grew up riding. As probably to this day would be my favorite place to ride if it was still there, but it's gone now, so that's sad. That roof gap to grind down the rail, I found out later that had been done like a couple weeks before, I guess, or something. So I just ripped somebody off unknowingly. Sorry, I forget who it was, sorry. This was a long time ago. Man. Seriously, like this is like one big road trip. Most of these clips, it was like one big road trip, like from Texas to Pennsylvania and back, and then out to California and back. Like, because we had such a short time to film it in, it was just like packed together. So me remembering like all these clips, it's like watching a road trip video for me, pretty much. Bike flips, that was a fun time learning that trick. It took me actually 30 minutes from first time I tried it to first time I pulled it on a box. And I believe TJ Lavin is actually somewhat at fault for that, and him and Nate Wessel were trying to get me to try it. I never wanted to try bike flips, and they were like, just try it, you should try it, because Nate was messing with them on the quarter pipe, on the Resi quarter, and it worked out. So thanks, guys. Yeah. Oh man, that makes my ankles hurt. That tail whip gap makes my ankles hurt. Looking at, why would I want to land on that? The S rail was definitely kind of one of those things where we went there. I was expecting to spend all day trying to land this rail, and it happened within like 10 or 15 tries. And then I was just like, yeah, I'm that cool. I just took it, I accepted it. Probably couldn't do it again if I tried. But, and then there's Baldy, of course. That was actually a whole story in itself. And I'm gonna tell it right now. Baldy, for those of you that don't know, Gary Young and I were on that road trip I talked about earlier, and Fudger, and a handful of other guys. And we basically rode all of these capsules and pipe things, and skate park type stuff. And we ended up back down in San Diego, and then there was the LGX Sports Championships going on in Pomona. So Gary and I looked at the schedule, and it said park practice 8 p.m. But everything else was like 7 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever it was in the morning. It was the only thing that was like p.m., so we were like, that's a typo. So we drove to Pomona, got there in time for 8 a.m. practice because we thought it was a typo, and they're like, yeah, it's tonight at 8 p.m. And we were like, that's weird. So literally, Gary and I looked at each other and we were like, well, what should we do? And Gary goes, loop Baldy. So, because we had just done that road trip and we were pretty close to Baldy. So I was like, all right, let's go. So called up Z, and Z, I think, was on a photo shoot. Was he on a photo shoot with Martinez, I think, maybe, out in Huntington Beach or something like that? And he literally told Corey, gotta go, and like left. And he told Corey why. And Corey was like, yeah, get out of here. So Z met us out there, and it seriously happened first try, and it was like one and done, and we got out of there. That's how that clip came about, which it actually was way easier than I thought it was going to be, and I think I've done it probably 12 or 13 times since. Every time I go to Baldy, I do it at least 3 or 4 times.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
It's fun. It's actually really fun. Like, loops are so hard. Yeah, they're ridiculous. It's like on another level. No, they're easy. It's a berm. It's a sideways berm where you go upside down. So as long as you can get over it in your head, it's actually pretty fun. And yeah, it turned out one of my proudest moments, I guess, on a BMX bike would be looping Baldy, because it's an epic spot and like been talked about for years. There was that sweet April Fool's joke about it that Zielinski did, where they like photoshopped it and it was like April Fool's joke. But and then there's the whole skate industry thing that happened with it. It was just Burnquist went and like, hey, I mean, he did it. It was awesome, but he got wrecked on it too. Yeah, it's a cool spot. It's fun. And yeah, it actually ended out that section quite well, because it was the punctuation I needed to get that Nord Cup. Thank you, Ride BMX. Even though Ride BMX is gone now. Our BMX.
It takes some getting used to. For sure.
Thank you, Ride Our BMX. Weird. The song that I originally wanted for this section was actually a song called Strict Machine by a band called Goldfrapp. And I'm pretty sure, like, I got a few like excuses why we couldn't have it, but I'm pretty sure it was just like Glenn didn't want to pay for it. Okay. I don't think it was very much, but whatever. So he ended up using this epoxy song, which it sounds okay. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's been, what is that, 13 years old? That was 13 years ago. Yeah. And so it's a part of it now, so it works. But I had another song that I really wanted for that. And we actually, Walter, was all 100% on board with that other song too. And like, he had some ideas, and he filmed the whole thing minus like maybe 1 or 2 clips, I think. I don't think he had the double loop in Reedsport. But other than that, like, it was pretty much every single clip in that video Walter filmed. And he actually threw together, just put it all in a file and made an edit to the song that I wanted before this came out, which is somewhat cruel, because I got to see it with the song I wanted and I was like, oh, it's so good. And I honestly do prefer that edit to the one that was in the video. But I do really like the way it came out. Glenn did a good job, and he made the choice for the whole video, and it is what it is. So I actually have the alternate edit on my iPad here, so we can watch that and you can see the difference in the way the whole video feels. I think it has a different feel to it, which is pretty sweet. I don't know, but the song's pretty good. Listen to the song. Listen to the song.
I want to sit down with that actually.
It's funny because you watch this and like it starts with a crash section, the same and like Glenn did his thing, Walter did his thing, and like it's just funny because And Walter just threw all this together because we just spent 2 months filming, and he was just like, I want to do something with it. And yeah, and it turned out dope. And it's just funny because the way that they put it together, it's very similar. Like starts off with like just a slew of crashes because I'm very good at crashing, evidently. And but yeah, the music kicks in and it's like, oh man. See, it's got a different feel to it. It's smoother. It's a little smoother. It's kind of like scotch instead of whiskey, you know? One of my favorite sponsors, Empire BMX. Like Tina and Tom, you guys rule. I had this was such a letdown for me when Bad Idea came out because I was under the impression that I was filming a full video part for this video. So this is why I've picked this for at least the video as a whole. It's good, but the stuff that I guess put the foot that I put forward, I thought I was filming a whole part for it, and I did film a bunch of stuff for it. I filmed a bunch of street stuff and like ramp stuff and skate park stuff, and I literally, come to find out, I go to the premiere and find out that I've been put in the friends section, and most of the footage that I filmed was nowhere to be seen. The stuff that was used was like, I guess it was, there were good clips, but for my standards, like what I was wanting to put forward, it's kind of like every video I put out had tail to ice pick on a sub box, tail to foofing on a sub box, flares, whatever, mini ramp stuff. So for me, I would have rather had seen, like bombing a huge handrail that's in a unique spot that's not like the same clip that's in every other video.
And you had that stuff.
I had a lot of that stuff filmed. So like there was a lot of stuff filmed, and I don't have any idea what happened to it. So it just kind of disappeared into Dave Perrick land, wherever that is. Maybe it'll emerge someday. We'll find out. We may never know though. But let me preface this by saying I love you, Dave Perrick. I'm not like just trying to like rag on you a bunch. I know that video was really stressful for you to make, and like it was hard all across the board. So I'm not like trying to point blame or fingers or anything like that. This is just a video that my expectation was higher for the foot I put forward, and what ended up happening was not what I expected. So it's my least of my efforts. That's the most tactful way I can say that, I think. Because I love everyone involved, it is what it is. Here we are. And like everybody in here kills it. Like everyone's an amazing rider. It's just Tony Cardona. Whatever happened to Tony? I haven't seen him in ages. Is he? Awesome. I haven't seen Tony in a while. Oh, there I am in a purple shirt. Look at me go. Man, my warehouse was so much fun to ride. I wish I still had that spot. That was the original setup too, before we changed a lot of it up. But you could literally ride that place for like till your legs fell off, and everything just worked together so well. So much fun. I will say this, it is an honor to share video space with the one and only Chris Doyle. So that's a plus. George killed it. Yeah, it's like T1 ramp, flare on a mini ramp. It's a good flare, it's a good clip, but it's all stuff that like, I feel like I do all the time, and like whenever I put effort out into filming like a part, whether it's a web edit or a DVD or whatever, I like to put stuff forward that's like maybe takes people off guard a little bit, something a little different or unique, more unique I should say, even though what I find the most fun to ride is probably like just a straight mini ramp. But I haven't seen this in a long time. How much do you think Empire paid for the rights to this song? $2, $3?
Probably.
But a big part of why this was a letdown for me too is because I was expecting to put out a full part, and then it's like just sharing it with a bunch of other guys in like a mix section makes it seem more like a road trip video or something like that. Which, what's that? Or it makes it feel like I didn't put effort in. The effort that I did actually put in, because it's just like there's not as much substance to it. Danny Hickerson's amazing too. I haven't seen Danny in a while. I feel like Doyle could do a video part and do all the same tricks that he's always done, like what I was just talking about, but it wouldn't matter because everything he does is amazing. It doesn't matter that it's so classic, it doesn't matter. See, I should be talking about a video part about me riding that I'm least favorite of, but here I am talking about all these other guys because it's a split section. Yeah. It is. I've had a couple clips. I hope so. I'm pretty sure there's a few clips from. Oh, there I am. Hey, look at me riding the mini ramp in Empire. Yeah, whip to ice on the sub. Hand plant. That's cool. I mean, that's fun. I haven't done those in a while. Whip to foof. That was scary. I thought I was gonna fall in the stairwell. But yeah, it's just like there's not as much substance to it. So, holler dog. So you can imagine like how I felt like watching this when I was like, oh, cool. Like I seriously filmed, like I went on several road trips and like filmed a lot of stuff for this, and none of it got used. So I was like, I actually wanted to try to get a hold of the footage that didn't get used to use in another video part, because it literally was just like gone and it couldn't be found. So what's that? So because this part like brought up all these feelings in me, I actually felt like I kind of let down like the whole Empire crew because I didn't have the part that I wanted to have. So I actually spent a bit more time and filmed an edit for Empire after this as kind of a redo, so to speak, which I was actually quite happy with. I filmed it with Cameron Meilenberg, and we just did some road trips down to Austin and around, and we had a trip out to California actually that we had quite a few clips from that came out really well, and he's amazing at putting parts together, so he did a really good job with it. So that's the end of that section. But yeah, so we actually filmed an edit for Empire afterwards, and it was kind of like, in my head, it was like my redo edit. And Tina and Tom helped out with like, gas money and stuff like that, which was awesome to help us get that done. That's my most favorite to least favorite. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that was really insightful for you.
Follow Our BMX.
Follow Our BMX.
Subscribers.
My dudes from that other publication that was around for a long time started up this new thing called Our BMX, and it's totally worth checking out and following and getting involved, because the faster that gets built up, the more content they can make and bring awesome stuff back to you guys. So get involved.